Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the recess meeting of the Will County Board for April 21st, 2011. We will call this meeting to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. County Board Member Joe Babbage will lead us in the pledge this morning and then introduce our clergy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With an honor and pleasure, it is an honor here again to introduce Father Tim Andres, Assistant Pastor of St. Joe's Catholic Church, which is down here on North Chicago Street. Father Tim.
Good morning, everyone. I take this opportunity to wish everybody a blessed Holy Week and Passover if you celebrate those. And we begin, as always, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And so we do pray. Almighty and eternal God, Creator and Sustainer of all that is or will ever be, accept our thanks for this day and for all its blessings, for all its opportunities, and for all its challenges. We ask that you guide and direct the work of this legislative body. May they serve those who they represent with wisdom and with compassion, especially for those in our community who are most in need. May we keep in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting all our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. So let us continue to strive to make a better world, cognizant of who He is as the source of all truth, promising to give our best always. And may we always be assured of your presence and of your grace. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Bilotta. Adamick. Deutsch. Howard. Singer. Lori Smith. Weigel. Drayle. Hart. McPhillips. Kusta. Mayor. Trainier. Argadelis. Goodson. Brian Smith. Gould. May. Rozak. Konecki. Seiler. Brooks. Stewart. Winfrey. Babbage. Wilhelmy. And Mustis. Mrs. Drayle. Thank you.
24 members present, 3 absent.
24 members present. We do have a quorum. Entertain a motion to place on file a certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Trainier. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Bilotta. Adamick. Deutsch. Howard. Lori Smith. Weigel. Drayle. Hart. McPhillips. Kusta. Mayor. Trainier. Argadelis. Goodson. Brian Smith. Gould. May. Rozak. Konecki. Seiler. Winfrey. Babbage. Wilhelmy.
Mr. Wilhelmy.
Thank you. And Mustis. Thank you.
24 affirmative.
24 affirmative. Motion is carried. Entertain a motion for the approval of the March 17, 2011 County Board meetings minutes. Moved by Ms. Seiler, second by Mr. Wilhelmy. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. May. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge our elected officials and the media that is present this morning?
Sure. We have our Auditor, Duffy Blackburn, County Clerk Nancy Schultz-Foots, County Executive Larry Walsh, Sheriff Paul Kopis, State's Attorney James Glasgow, and our Treasurer Steve Weber. And media, we have Michael Cleary from Farmers Weekly Review and Alice Fabry from Chicago Tribune.
Question, Mr. Argadelis?
Just a statement. We also have our Plainfield Township Assessor Aaron Kleitz here with us today. She's in the audience.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
and also,
Oh, wait a minute.
and we also have Margie Woods here, too. Margie's up there.
Oh, former county board member Margie
Yeah.
Woods. Thank you, everyone. Citizens to be heard. We do have some citizens that have signed up and will be heard at the appropriate time. Moving on, we have honorary proclamations and resolutions. I have County Board Member Lori McPhillips will please come forward and make a presentation recognizing the 100th anniversary of our National Exchange Club.
I know there's some exchange-ites in the audience. If they want to come down, make it down to the podium. If you can, I see George Kozak and John Kella. And while they're making it down, this was originally scheduled for last month, and it's kind of ironic. Larry Walsh is an exchangeite. Jim McFarland is our president. We have, and the past president, McPhillips. So we have Walsh, McPhillips, we have Pam McGuire, Duffy Blackburn, and St. Patrick's Day was a conflict, unfortunately, for all the Irishmen here. But glad everyone can make it today. And we're recognizing the 100th anniversary of the National Exchange Club. Yes. We call it the Evil Knievel shirt. We all have them, too. Whereas family, community, and nation are important core values in the lives of Americans. And whereas exchange clubs have been serving communities throughout the United States for 100 years, the first exchange club having been formed in Detroit, Michigan in 1911. And whereas the National Exchange Club is celebrating its 100th anniversary serving our communities. Whereas the National Exchange Club, a strictly American organization, is a group of volunteers unselfishly working together to make our community a better place to live through programs of service in Americanism, community service, youth activities, and its national project, the prevention of child abuse. And whereas the Exchange Club of Joliet is affiliated with the National Exchange Club and provides significant and invaluable contributions to the citizens of the city of Joliet. Whereas experience teaches us that by itself, government cannot solve all of our nation's social problems, and that volunteers are vital to the future as a caring and productive city, state, and nation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby congratulate the Exchange Club of Joliet on their 100th anniversary. Be it further proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive recognize the Exchange Club of Joliet and express their appreciation for the contributions made to the citizens of Will County. And I so move.
Moved by Ms. McPhillips, second by Mr. Mayor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried. Congratulations.
Thank you, Larry.
Who wants to speak? George? You want to speak?
Just tell you, we've been around for, I think, 60 years, and we have a couple of members that have been in existence for that time as well. George Kozak and Bill Lipsey.
Thank you very much for the proclamation. I've been a member since 1950, and I've had nothing but fond memories of everything I went through as a member of the Exchange Club. Our claim to fame is we built Trinity School out on Goggle Road. And most of you people know that school has now been very, very active. They've expanded many times. We've done many things for the city, but that was our big, that was 1956, I think, we built that school. And some of us here were still young enough that we worked there and helped them. But anyway, it's been a pleasure for me to be a member of the club. As I said, I've been a member since 1950, and I still feel I just can't get over the fact that I've been able to take an active part. As many years as I've been a member lately, I haven't been able to do too much. But thank you for the proclamation, and I'm very, very pleased.
I hate to be a little over George. He's been a very active member all these years. I joined the Exchange Club, I think the official record said the 1st of December 1948. And I've enjoyed it very much. I think and I hope that a lot of you people have been to our spaghetti dinners and over the years, and this is quite a money raiser for us. And we've done many things for the youth of Will County and this area. So very, very good.
Also, we're honored that Bill Lipsey is a charter member of the Exchange Club. So, Bill, a few words.
I don't think there's much I can say that hasn't already been said, but I've been a member of the club 50-some years, and I'm very proud to be a member. And I have to say thanks to the people of Joliet who respect the Exchange Club for what it has done for the city of Joliet and the people that live here. And we are still working hard for the children of Joliet. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
I just want to say, too, a plug for one of our fundraising events. We have a spaghetti dinner in the fall, the last Monday. We also have a golf outing, which is going to be June 8th at Wedgwood. And you can contact any of the members for tickets to that. And it's, again, a fundraiser. We help support Children's Advocacy Center, CASA, and a lot of programs that are near and dear to the county as well.
I mentioned the fact that you're a member, and so is Larry.
Yes. Yes, we're both members. But thank you very much. And Doc.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Larry.
Thanks, Lori.
Good, Larry. Thanks, Larry.
Next, if County Board Member Sharon May will please come forward for a recognition award.
Rhonda, could you come on down? Today we're going to recognize Rhonda Novak on receiving the 2011 Marshall Thurrow Memorial Award. Okay, before we begin, I'd like to recognize that Rhonda's mom and her grandmother are here to watch her receive this honor. And I'd also like to mention that Rhonda started out in 1988 working for the county because she answered a blind ad that was in the Herald News. And the ad didn't say she was applying for a job at Will County. It just said someone was looking for a clerk. So through those years, clerk. Through a clerk. And she worked in that department and has moved up. So let me read the honor today. What did he say?
You said crook.
Oh, crook. I did not. Clerk, I said. Jeez, Larry, come on. Huh? No one else heard that, Larry. Okay, serious time. This honor was established to annually recognize a member of the Illinois assessment profession who demonstrates high ethical standards, professional achievement, and dedication to the service of others. It is named after former Wheeling Township assessor Marshall Thurrow, who is credited as a leader in the development of assessment standards, practices, and education. The award was given out at the Illinois Property Assessment Institute Spring Luncheon on Monday, March 28, 2011, at the Doubletree Hotel in Bloomington, Illinois. Rhonda was chosen by the Institute's Board of Directors from 1,500 applicants throughout the state. She is the first Will County Supervisor of Assessment to receive this honor. She has been with the county since 1988, working entirely in the assessor's office. She was the chief deputy under Supervisor Richard Lotting and was appointed to supervisor after his retirement in 2002. She has been reappointed twice, beginning her third term in January. Congratulations very much.
thank you for recognizing this award. There are so many people here that you'd be playing music to get me out of here, because there are so many people here that I want to thank, especially County Executive Larry Walsh for continuing to support my efforts, Jim Eustace, Chairman of the Executive Committee of the County Board, continuing to support the things that I want to do, and obviously the County Board in always supporting everything that we've tried to do in the Assessor's Office. We continue to grow, we continue to use technology, and we're doing some really great things in Will County. My wonderful family who has supported me and allowed me to, since 1988, be here full-time and do these things while they were taking care of my children. My grandma in the back of the room who took care of my little ones for me. My husband and my daughter are here. My mom is here. There are a ton of assessors here, attorneys, mentors, my staff, the Farm Bureau. I've never had such wonderful support. This job is a real treat. It's a joy. I love it. And I am surrounded by the most wonderful, supportive people, and you have no idea how much that means to me, and it makes me be able to continue to hopefully meet the expectations of all of you and hopefully exceed those. So thank you so much. This is a big deal in my career, and I don't know that I'll ever have a day that I feel this special and honored. So thank you all so much. I am so appreciative and honored.
Next, if County Board Member Chuck Mayer, please come forward with a proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. And could I have Suzanne Hart come down with me? Another parent from Neuqua Valley happens to be on this board, so I thought we'd have Suzanne join us. And also, could I have our state champions come down? You know, champions come in a lot of shapes, sizes, gender, but they all have one thing in common: heart. Because without heart, you cannot get to the top. And this team here really has shown a lot of heart over the course of this season and several other seasons, because the Neuqua Valley High School came into existence back in 1997, so not that long ago. And this group has already had 5 championships. And one of the other things that they have going on is that their coach and one of their players, Kim, is going to be going to Greece with the international team and representing the United States in Greece this year in the World Games. So I think before I even get into the proclamation, I'd like to get a round of applause for this team here and their coaches. So we're here today to recognize Neuqua Valley High School Special Ed Olympic Basketball Championship. Whereas it is the intent of the Will County Board and the Will County Executive to recognize outstanding achievements of individuals and organizations in Will County, and whereas the Wildcats Neuqua Valley High School Special Olympic Basketball Team won its 5th state title at the Special Olympics tournament held in Illinois State University in Bloomington Normal on March 12, 2011, and whereas the high school tournament consisted of 30 Special Olympic teams from across the state and were grouped into 8 different divisions according to skill level, and whereas Neuqua Valley athletes who finished their season 8-3 played both of their games against other high school teams in Division 6, beating Downers Grove South High School Mustangs 62-37, and on Friday, and Argo Community High School Argonauts 61-45 on Saturday. And whereas this winning season can be attributed to the determination and commitment by members of the Neuqua Valley High School Special Olympic basketball team, as well as their coach, Kim Felke, and Coach Denise Denise, I told you I'd blow it. Luxetish. And now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive thereby honor Neuqua Valley High School Special Olympic Team on the 5th state title. Be it further resolved that the members of the Neuqua Valley High School Special Olympic Team and all their coaches be commended for this distinguished honor dated this 21st day of April, 2011, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Mayers, second by Mr. Phillips. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
I want to thank you. Where's Kim? Come on up here, Kim. I want to thank you, Kim, for all the work that you and Denise have done over the years with this team, and I'd like to give you a chance to say a couple.
First, thank you for having us. We're very honored to be here. These guys were very excited to come today and to receive this from you. They worked very hard all season. I think the highlight for us as coaches was watching them come together as a team and really bond together. They worked so hard all season, and then to get through the regional tournament and then downstate, they played very hard. So thank you very much for having us here today. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Sure, absolutely. I would be happy to introduce the players. We have a few that aren't here. They had tests today, so they couldn't make it. But this is Michael Pochette. He's a senior, graduating in just a month or so. Stephanie DeSanti, also graduated in a month. Trevor Szymanski, he's a junior. And Mike Dial, who we also call Dennis Rodman, is our center. He's a junior, and Andy Pihala is a senior as well, so he'll be graduating soon as well. So we're looking to Trevor and Mike to help us carry on the tradition next year. So.
Very good. Congratulations. Chair recognizes County Board Member Seiler.
Thank you. Good morning. This morning, I do have an opportunity on behalf of the Will County Board to recognize April as National Autism Awareness Month. Autism typically appears during the first 3 years of life and inhibits a person's ability to communicate and develop social relationships and interact with others. Is the mic on?
Can you talk? Yeah, it's on.
Okay, I'll go
Maybe
back.
talk into it a little bit more.
I thought I was. Autism typically appears during the first 3 years of life and inhibits a person's ability to communicate and develop social relationships and interact with others. The prevalence of autism has risen to 1 in every 110 births and affects 4 times as many boys as girls, and has increased 57% from 2002 to 2006. The Autism Society has been celebrating National Autism Awareness Month since the 1970s. The United States recognizes April as a special opportunity for everyone to educate the public about autism. December 18th, 2007, the United States National General Assembly declared April 2nd as World Autism Awareness Day, and we do recognize, as a county board, April as National Autism Awareness Month.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Next, Chair recognizes County Board Member Kusta.
Good morning, everyone. I graduated Bolingbrook High School in 1992, and I played sports all 4 years. And I was pretty lucky and felt fortunate to make win the conference. I think 1 time out of 8 chances. There's some girls at Bolingbrook High School that, out of their 4-year career, they've been at the state championship game all 4 years, and they've won it 3 years. As a matter of fact, one of the girls on the team, Ariel Massengale, has a full ride to the University of Tennessee, who, I don't know if you know much about college women's basketball, but wins the national championship pretty regularly. So this is a pretty exciting thing. I have a proclamation that I'm going to present to the school honoring the Bolingbrook High School girls 4A state basketball championship. As I mentioned, the Lady Raiders won their third straight championship on March 5, 2011, beating Zion Benton, score of 71-42. I actually went to the game, and I hate to say this, but it was not as exciting because the game before that, they won by a free throw with 0.1 seconds left. So I went to this game as well, and it was somewhat of a blowout. They've been in the state finals the last 7 years in a row, and they're the first school in Illinois history, to win 3 straight state championships. They averaged over 70 points per game in the playoffs, and they finished this year's record with a 29-2 record, and were the second best team in the nation. So I'd like to say congratulations to the team, to Coach Anthony Smith, Coach Carter Larry, and to the Village of Bolingbrook, and I'll be presenting this proclamation to them soon. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ed. Before moving on to our agenda, I want to announce, if everyone would please take time to stop just right outside of our boardroom in the Will County 4-H. Boys and girls have set up a wonderful booth out there that highlights and shows the activities that 4-H goes through. And there's no farm animals out there, so there's a lot of things that 4-H means nowadays that maybe didn't exist back in our day. And so please stop by, look at some of the activities they are doing, and these young men and women put a lot of time into performing these duties, and it's a great organization. So, moving on. Ms. Trail.
May I just please follow up on who was here with the 4-H Club today?
Yes, you may.
They're the Crafty Clovers, and they serve Manhattan and New Lenox. The leader is Beth Gordon of Manhattan, and members are Gabriel Gordon, 17, Rebecca Gordon, 15, and Shauna Gordon, 7. And also present is Johnny Davis with the University of Illinois Extension, Unit Coordinator and Youth Development Director. Thank you very much, Larry.
Thank you, Dan. All resolutions from the March 17th, 2011 County Board agenda have been signed by the County Executive. Moving on to our first committee, Land Use and Development Committee, Mr. Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tom.
I'd like to make a motion to open a public hearing for land use cases.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, seconded by Ms. Rozak. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Sure. Bilotta? Yes. Adamick? Deutsch? Yes. Howard? Yes. Lori Smith? Weigel?
Yes.
Drayle? Yes. Hart? Yes. McPhillips? Yes. Kusta? Yes. Mayor? Yes. Trainier? Yes. Argadelis? Yes. Goodson? Yes. Brian Smith? Yes. Gould? Yes. May? Yes. Rozak? Yes. Konecki? Yes. Seiler? Yes. Winfrey? Yes. Babich? Yes. Wilhelmy? Yes. And Mustis? Yes. Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use hearing is closed. We do have one. Let me read the cases that we're going to have. Today we have cases number 5963-SV, 5964-M2V, 5965-V2, and 5967-MV. There has been one person that has signed up, and it looks like Laura Actus. Laura, do you like to make a comment? Answer questions on case 5965-V2? Okay. Is there anyone from the general public who is interested in making testimony, giving testimony? Anyone? Anyone from the general public? Anyone wishes to speak on any zoning cases? Mr. Weigel.
I'd make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Argadelis. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Bilotta. Adamick. Deutsch. Howard. Lori Smith.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Drayle. Hart. McPhillips. Kusta. Mayor. Trainier. Argadelis. Goodson. Brian Smith. Gould. May. Rozak. Konecki. Seiler. Winfrey. Babbage. Wilhelmy. And Mustis. Thank you.
24 affirmative.
24 affirmative. Our public hearing has been closed. Mr. Weigel, please continue.
First case is 5963 SV. This concerns a special use permit for a residence of a proprietor, caretaker, or watchman in an industrial park in New Lenox Township. And there are 3 conditions. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Smith. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Trainier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next case is 5964 M2V. This is the Andres and Wilton Farmers Grain Company in Peatone Township. They're asking for a map amendment from C2 to I1 for parcels 1, 2, and 3. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Mayor. Is there any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Mr. Adamick. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
I'm not sure what I mentioned there, but David says it's from C2 to I2. I don't know. Maybe I mentioned that wrong. Did you get that?
I think he's all right. You are all right, Tom.
Okay. And the next item is a map amendment from A1 to I2 for parcel 4. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Trainier. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Goodson, second by Mrs. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next case is 5965 V2, Centerpoint Properties. They're asking for a variance from the Water Resource Ordinance to allow reduction of detention volume to stabilize an environmentally contaminated site. This is in Joliet Township, a former Caterpillar tractor site. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Previous roll call. Ms. Seiler, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next case, 5967 MV. This is for a zoning map amendment from A1 to R2. This is in Troy Township. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Argadelis. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. May. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
The next item is a resolution 11-123 authorizing the county executive to enter into the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency fiscal year 2011 certified local community local government grant program to continue the Will County Historic Structures Survey. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Konecki. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Goodson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next resolution, 11-124, designating the Scout Cabin as an historic landmark, historically known as the Boy Scout Cabin. This is in New Lenox on the Methodist Church grounds. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. May. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Rozak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next resolution, 11-125, an ordinance readopting and amending certain provisions of the Will County Building Ordinance and Codes. This is an update of our International Building Code. updating a new section for the 2009 code. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Trenier. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Deutsch. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, Resolution 11-126, accepting planning staff assistance service delivered by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning for a Fairmont area sub-area plan. They plan to have a planner work with our land use department for approximately 1 year at no cost to Will County. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, Resolution 11-127, ordinance authorizing the reimbursement of foreclosed subdivision guaranteed funds. These are on hand, and all of the changes have been made as required, and sending back these reimbursements to the persons that did submit these expenses. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Seiler. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Mayor, second by Ms. McPhillips. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weigel. Next, we move on to the Finance Committee. Mr. Kusta, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. And good morning again, everyone. First, I have 2 reports to place on file. The first report is from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of February 2011 to be roughly $1.1 million, $1.1 million, and the RTA tax received is roughly $1.3 million. The next report is the Will County Monthly County Treasurer Report dated March 31st, 2011, and I move to place those on file.
Moved by Mr. Kusta, second by Mr. Babbage. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, I'd like to invite Auditor Duffy Blackburn to the podium for the quarterly report.
Mr. Blackburn.
Just know how to turn down this. I was going to show it up on the screen if anybody knows which one. This one here?
First two, I think. There.
Is that better? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairman Kusta. All right. I'm going to show the auditor's report again online. To save the paper, I gave our clerk the paper copy, so you'll have that for your filing. If you go to the Will County website, willcountyillinois.com, click on elected officials, and then click on auditor, you'll come to the elected officials site for the auditor's office. I do want to make a mention. Congratulations to Rhonda on her award. We did get an award, and there should be a proclamation, but I don't know who you would want to give it to, because it's really for everyone, because the Sunshine Review, which is a collaborative wiki site that actually reviews governmental transparency, has given Will County an A+. Only 17 counties out of 3,000 in the U.S. have received this award, which is, I think, relatively speaking, is a rather significant thing. So the criteria that they look at is everything from the clerk's information, elected official information, easy access to county board agendas, and viewing of your meetings. So I think that's a rather good thing. Also, it also took in effect that we also have our checkbook online on my site, and the information about the resolutions for elected official pay, the notes from our annual report on pensions, employee retiree health care. So it's a commendable job. So it's really the online viewing of the county board minutes, Nancy's elected officials directory, and planning and zoning. Really a whole consistent effort by the county to offer information really is the award. So I'm going to go and move on. If you guys want to proclaim that sometime and all pat each other on the backs. Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Blackburn, that it is really an honor. And we were getting pretty good grades prior. You know, we were getting B's and an A plus, and to get an award for excellence in transparency, I think is significant. So, I don't know. We'll all figure out who gets it. Maybe we just all come and we all put our hands on it. But I do think we should do something. So, well, I'll be talking to the majority and minority leader, and we'll invite all the elected officials.
If the Blackhawks can all get together, I guess we all can.
Yes, absolutely. At least for a game.
Maybe we should have lines that shift on and off up here. I can see everyone huddle up here, say thank you, and then back there and say aye. I'll move on with my agenda. Quarterly report, analysis report on the left-hand side for the menu you can get to. There is right below, right at the very bottom, I'm going to use this laser pointer. You can actually print out a PDF file, but I'm going to use an online free tool that is showing presentations now. It's called Prezi. It's a plug for them. If you click on More right here, you can then choose full screen, and then it'll go through the presentation. Same thing instead of flipping a page. This is the first fiscal quarter of February. I'm going to go through most of this information. It's changed since then. It's hard to see here, but you can actually zoom in on it. Right here is our number of our cash number of $33 million at the end of February. We can just move on. This information has been updated since months have passed. And I want to go back to the graphics that I did show, that I've shown the last few months. This is a revenue budgetary comparison to show where we're at. We have 8% of total revenue coming in. Obviously, a large portion of that would be through the property tax, which is at 0%, and the $62 million that has been this is just the corporate fund, the general corporate fund that has been levied. If you go to the next page, we'll see individual highlighted sections. The property tax at 0%, sheriff fees at 18%. This should be at 25%. Some of them are more seasonal in nature, and interest we have 1% as well. Going on. This is the expenditure budgetary comparison. So we're at 20% here. And you're being presented in the Finance Committee with the information on the salary amounts and benefits as well. Going through here, we're at 10% at County Board, 22% at State's Attorney here, and all under the 25%. If we go to the next slide, this is something that these cute little men actually represent. Each one is 1% of the total workforce. There's more information in the full county the full county analysis, which is 42 pages, but I'm only showing about I think 14. The only ones with graphics. All right, just to show you the makeup of the employee numbers by representation group. On the top, there's collective bargaining units that represent 1,400 employees, about 77% of our staff. The exempt or non-represented, about 398. Elected official county board is 27, and elected officials employees. These are approximate from last year. These numbers are taken from our Will County general ledger system, all full-time permanent employees that received over 26 pay periods. So you can see, go back real quick, I'm sorry, Kathy. You can see the large chunk that the county is made up predominantly of collective bargaining unit employees. This little almost transparent figure is you all here. This is this was kind of difficult to sort out. This group of exempt and non-represented are really two different groups, and they're pushed together because some of them, once they change, however, they're not always coded in our payroll system. So we didn't want to make that. We didn't want to make some errors there, so we grouped them all together. The non-represented are offices such as the auditors, the treasurers, who are not represented by collective bargaining groups. The exempt are mostly supervisors, and those who are exempt from collective bargaining. If you go to the next slide, the reason why that's important is that this is the average salary representation type. So the county board is at $23,000. Collective bargaining, the average is $49,000. Exempt non-represented is at $63,000, and elected official is averaged at $95,000. Going through this, we've broken out the collective bargaining units by group. At the top, you can see the health techs at the health department at $28,000. Let me see. Animal control is through here. If you look through here, there's the RNs at Sunny Hill. Deputies, assistant state's attorneys at $72,000. And there's the spread. Now I've done this same analysis of the same total 1,900, about 1976 total employees. Up at the top are governmental functions, which are separated in all of our financial reports. The top is public safety at 615, about 32%. Health and welfare, about 27%. This block here represents the judicial, and then the green is general administrative, and then the smaller part is the highway and roads. Same comparison of average salary. Health and welfare average $44,000, general at $46,000, and then at the top, at the bottom with the highest amount, public safety average salary is $63,000 of the approximate 630 employees. The last slide is we've zoomed in on this. Across the top are the same category groups, and this is the distribution of salaries. These are in thousands, and here's the amount of workers, the percentage of workers that are in these salary groups. The auditor's office has put this information together based on a few conversations about just general salary information. Hopefully that can add to your discussions when you guys are looking at bargaining and such. Right here you can see the median of the total median through the whole county is $47,000. The average is $52,000, which means the bell curve is slightly to the high end, and then the maximum. These high wage earners are mostly doctors, and there's very few people making this area. Hopefully this information will also allow you to see the makeup of the salaries, the listing of all employees, and the management decisions and the authority upon that. We thought it's better to show in just a group and a much wider perspective than actual listing names and salaries somewhere on any website. And then again, if you hit one more, you can see the source. These are from the general ledger systems. This is the employees listed as permanent full-time 26 pay periods for fiscal 2010. And we're basing that. This is all information that mostly should save from next year. And then these are the benefit codes and benefit descriptions by our payroll system. Are there any questions?
Any questions of our auditor? Very, very detailed, Duffy. Any questions, anyone?
This right here is highway. That's the county engineer right here. And then right in here is a very few blips of health, and mostly these are the doctors. I don't know if there is even anything in that group. But you can see the large, where the centered. So the median is really like right through here where it's all centered.
Any questions? Yes, Miss May.
Duffy, is there any way that you can tell how many people actually click on and look at your information?
We do, yeah. We look at, in the last 3 weeks, we've only started actually doing those. It's free through Google Analytics, and you can just see how many true site visits. And there was 400 or some in the last couple of weeks. So it's good to know that people are taking a look at it. It's good information just to. We'll see if anything explodes from this meeting. I don't think so, but.
A question, Duffy. If someone FOIAs you as the auditor for this information, can you just respond back to them and say that the information you are looking for is on our website?
Well, hopefully that's what would be the purpose of proactively showing this information. If they can be satisfied, if they would like to get more information, that would have to go through. They can FOIA the payroll and human resources, and then that would have to be reviewed.
Jim, do you got an opinion? I mean, does Duffy have to respond to the FOIA request? We do, even though the information is there.
Perhaps the law could be amended as we become more electronically savvy, but right now, you've still got to comply.
He does have to comply. And so he does have to, if they ask for specific information, he has to give them a specific answer, not just to say it's on the website.
Well, he doesn't have to create new answers. He just gives them the information that's on file, and any documents he's in possession of.
Okay. All right. Any other things? Any other questions for Duffy? Thank you very much, Duffy.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Kusta.
Duffy, you did a great job with that report, and we also appreciate your humor. We're starting to see some jokes up there, which is good, nice. All right, enough jokes from Duffy today. Thank you very much.
You're not bad yourself, so okay.
All right, the first resolution I have is 11-128. This is a resolution transferring and increasing appropriations in various county budgets to fund year-end shortfalls, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Kusta, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Trenier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
11-129, a resolution authorizing emergency loan to the County Tort Immunity Fund, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Kusta, second by Ms. Goodson. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
11-
Pardon me? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Kusta.
11-130, a resolution establishing a capital asset policy, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Kusta, second by Mr. Smith. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Rozak, second by Ben Strail. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, Ms. Konecki, you want to be pass on that one? Or yes? Did you get what you wanted? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Kusta.
And the last resolution is 11-131, This is a resolution authorizing a revised 2011 budget for the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program and revenue and expenditures for fiscal year 2011. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Kusta, second by Ms. McPhillips. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Finally, the over-under for when this meeting is going to end is 11 o'clock. No pressure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kusta. Moving on to Public Works, Mr. Bilotta, Chairman.
I have the over. So the other day I was walking through the park. No, just kidding. First, I'd like to place an item on file. This is a public notice of the proposed renewal of a Clean Air Act permit program for BP of North America, the Manhattan Station. They made the EPA made preliminary determination the application meets the standards for issuance and has prepared a draft permit for public review. I'd like to make a motion to put that on file.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Ms. Trenier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion is carried.
Hey, going right into the resolutions, we have 11-132. This is for professional services agreement for review appraisals for the right-of-way acquisition of several parcels along 95th Street. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Ms. Rozak. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Seiler, second by Mr. Wilhelmy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
11-133. This is an agreement between Will County and Nicor Gas Company for reimbursement, the relocation of some gas mains along County Farm Road, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Ms. May. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
Next, 11-134. This is an ordinance declaring the need for right-of-way acquisition at the intersection of Laraway and 80th Avenue. And the reason we're doing this is Frankfurt Park District is donating the right-of-way that we need. We thank them very much for cooperating with us, but first we have to do this so that they could donate it to us. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Mr. Smith. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Goodson, second by Ms. Trail. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
11-135. This is approval for professional services for Phase 2 design with Collins Engineers for the bridge and roadway work on South Brigg Street, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Mr. Babbage. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Rozak, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
11-136. This is award of contract to P.T. Farrell for the overlay, which was overlay contract, which was led on March 23rd, 2011, for overlay of Mills and Cherry Hill Road from Route 53 east to Washington Street. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Ms. Hart. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Deutsch. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
11-137. This is award of contract to Denler Incorporated out of Mokina. This is for the countywide crack and joint sealing program for the year, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Mr. Wilhelmy. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Howard, second by Ms. May. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Next, 11-138. This is the same resolution we passed 2 months ago for the quick take at authority for the state at Weber and Renwick Road. After the state did review our initial resolution, they asked for a couple little changes. One of them is the parcel numbers did change slightly, and also the date, instead of March 1st, 2011 to March 1st, 2012 for the effective period for the quick take abilities, it changes to be effective 1 year after the legislation does approve it. So the same thing we did 2 months ago, which is little tweaks. The state did ask us to do it upon their legislative review and their legal review of our wording. So I'm bringing that forward, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Ms. Seiler. Do you have a question, Mr. Any questions? Questions, Ms. Deutsch?
I'd like to be shown as a no vote, please.
Okay, thank you. No questions. Previous roll call by Mr. Argadelis, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Next and last, 11-139 is the resolution by Norco Pipeline for temporary access. It's for the construction access on Cedar Road for a pipeline replacement project, and I so moved.
Moved by Mr. Bilotta, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Drayle. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, Ms. Deutsch is a yes. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Jim. Moving on, Judicial Committee, Ms. Drayle, Chairperson.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have 4 resolutions for consideration. The first resolution deals with the River Valley Juvenile Detention Food Service. And for everyone's information, the average meal, the meal per day will go up.
Pull your mic in.
The meals will go up 5 cents, snacks will go up 6 cents. This is the 3rd year of the contract. So, Resolution 11-140, resolution renewing contract service for food services at River Valley Juvenile Center for Aramark Correction Services, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Ms. Rozak. Any questions? Previous. Yeah, that was a question from far out. Previous roll call by Ms. Seiler, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Okay.
Please continue, Ann.
The next 3 resolutions, Resolution 11-141, Resolution 11-142, and Resolution 143, I'm going to ask to be amended on the floor. These are dealing with the administrative adjudication process with the software and the hearing officer. My amendments would like to include eliminating the word "to execute," which means that the county executive will continue to will start negotiations with the software company, the hearing officers, and at a future date, once we look at some of the issues of funding the software, we'll come back and the county executive will then execute the contracts.
Nancy, Nancy, are you?
And
you're
okay.
You're.
No. Okay.
We don't. Okay.
So let me start by.
Okay. Put your motions on the floor, and then
Okay.
we'll have to move to amend them.
Can I do all since
No,
all?
no, one at a time.
All right. Like to amend
No,
resolution.
move to put them on the floor.
I am moving to put resolution 11-141 on the floor.
There you go. Thank you. Second by Mr. Kusta. Now,
I would like to amend the resolution 11-141 by striking the words "and execute" throughout the resolution in the title, the second whereas, and the now therefore be it resolved paragraph. And I'd like to make a motion to approve as amended.
no, you're just moving to amend.
Okay. move to
Okay.
amend.
Second by Mr. Argadelis. Are there any questions? Does everybody understand what we're doing? Okay. And Nancy, you got them all. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Any questions? Seeing none. Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Deutsch on the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, the amendment has been approved. Now,
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 11-141 as amended.
there we go. Moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Mr. Gould. Previous roll call by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. May. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Good. Same process for resolution 11-142. I make a motion to place it on the floor.
Moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Ms. Winfrey. Nope.
No.
No.
I would like to amend resolution 11-142 by striking the words "and execute" throughout the resolution, the title, the second whereas, and the now therefore be it resolved paragraph. And I move to amend.
Move to amendment, second by Mr. Babbage. Any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, and previous roll call by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried. The amendment has been approved.
And I would now like to bring forward resolution 11-142 to approve as amended.
And moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Ms. Rozak. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. May, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Would like to bring resolution 11-143 to the table, to the floor.
Moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Ms. Seiler. Any questions?
I'd like to amend the resolution by striking the words "and execute" throughout the resolution, the title, the second whereas, and the now therefore be it resolved paragraph, and I move to amend.
Moved by Ms. Drayle, second by Ms. Goodson. Any questions? Moved by previous roll call by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Mr. Adamick. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion amendment has been approved.
Resolution 11-143, I move to approve as amended.
Moved by Mr. Ailes, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Good. Thank everyone for their patience. I do have an item, though, that I think is worth noting. And I'm not going to talk about baseball, which I think is a very good thing. But we do have, in the past, we've had 2 female county board members that have gotten married during their tenure. First one was Mary Ann Gerhardt, noted Republican who married Lee Deutsch, a noted Democrat. And it was, I guess, a really true bipartisan affair. But we have, But we have now Diane Seiler, who was a noted Democrat county board member, who's going to be getting next week and getting married in the great state of Hawaii, and she is marrying Mr. Tim Zigrossi. Oh wait, I got a lot more to say before.
Zigrossi.
Zigrossi. Thank you, Diane. I know you've told me that a couple times. But Tim also on Facebook, according to Lori Smith, talks about Diane daily, what she cooks, the wine glasses, what they're doing. So if you'd like to follow some of this daily love affair that these two are having, I would please say, go look at Facebook. The other thing, though, that I'm not sure we understand is if Tim is a good Democrat or a good Republican, but I understand that he's sort of neutral, and I think he's a very, very wise man maybe for that choice. So in the tradition of bipartisanship from a Republican to a Democrat, Diane, I'd like to wish you a very happy wedding. And in the desk drawer next to you in the bottom, there is a package from some of the county board members, some of the females. I can assure you that it's not an elephant. You can pull it up on your desk if you'd like. There you go. So, from Lori Smith, Lee Goodson, and myself, and the rest, I'm sure, of all fellow county board members, have a great time in Hawaii. May your wedding be blessed and wonderful. Open it at home.
All my children's going off the air, so we maybe can start here.
No, this is it's it's appropriate, maybe.
Thank you for all that information, Ms. Trail.
Quite welcome.
Okay, moving on. I don't know if this guy can top that committee report or not, but Public Health and Safety Committee, Mr. Gould.
I am not going to even try.
Let's see what's in his drawer here.
Baseball cards. First, I have Resolution 11-144, a resolution appropriating grant funds in the Health Department budget for the West Nile virus program. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Rozak. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Seiler, second by Ms. May. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
I have Resolution 11-145, a resolution appropriating grant funds in the Health Department budget for tobacco-free communities, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
By the way, these are all additional funds granted by the Illinois Department of Public Health in addition to the regular funds that were appropriated. I have Resolution 11-146, a resolution appropriating H1N1 grant funds in the Health Department budget, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Goodson, second by Ms. McPhillips. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 11-147, a resolution appropriating grant funds in the Health Department budget for breastfeeding peer counselor program, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Rozak. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Seiler, second by Ms. Deutsch. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Resolution 11-148, a resolution renewing therapy services at Sunny Hill, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Next, we move on to Legislative and Policy Committee. Ms. Goodson, Chairperson.
Good morning, everybody. I have no resolutions this morning. I would like to just briefly recap our Washington trip and our recent Springfield trip. This is our annual Washington trip, and we did it a little different this year in that we held all of our meetings in one day. Basically, our lobbyist arranged for a full day of meetings with agencies and our Will County delegation. On the trip was Chairman Mustis, Majority Leader Bilotta, Minority Leader Adamick, Under Sheriff Marty Nowak, and Chief of Staff Bruce Freefeld, along with myself. Our first meeting really set the tone for the day. We met with Joseph Calcara, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations and Housing. That title is a mouthful, but basically that was at the Pentagon. We discussed the possibility of acquiring some arsenal property from the Army for our sheriff facility. And basically what we learned is that the Army would need to maintain control of the property, but they were open to the idea of leasing. Calcutta requested that the Sheriff Department develop a concept plan, and he was very, very supportive of the idea of partnerships with state and local government, and he even suggested that this might be a model program for other states around the country. So it was off to a great start. We also met with Congresswoman Biggert, Senator Mark Kirk, the staff of Congressman Adam Kinzinger, and Senator Dick Durbin's staff, and basically just communicated our desire to continue to have the government fund our job training programs and our community health department, as well as the CDBG fund programs. Senator Kirk was able to offer a great deal of support for the lease with the Army because of the committees that he serves on, and of course, we understand that the earmarks are not going to happen this year, so we mainly focused on the programs that we've had success with and hope to continue to have those funded. We had a meeting with staff from the Department of Justice where we were informed of some funding for a couple of programs, Secure Our Schools and COPS Hiring, and these are programs that allow funding for officers and public safety in schools and community policing to fight gangs, drug violence, and things like that. We also met with the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, where we expressed our desire to have them fund a vigorous reauthorization bill for the highways and road projects. And we met with the U.S. Department of Labor Assistant Secretary for the Employment and Training, Ms. Jane Oates, and told her about the success of our job training programs. And she was very enthusiastic. She knew a great deal about Will County because she had done some research prior to us arriving. And she publishes a monthly newsletter where she features success stories on job training programs, and she would like to feature Will County in the near future. That's pretty much our trip to Washington. It was very successful. We felt very good about the agencies that we met with, and again, making those contacts so that when we call, they actually know who they're talking to really is beneficial to us. So I felt like overall we had a very successful trip. Then, not too far after that, the annual Will County Governmental League Lobby Day was held in Springfield. And each year, several county board members attend these meetings down in Springfield, but this year our Majority Whip, Lori Smith, had the idea of having the Women's Caucus, as we've sort of named ourselves, go down to Springfield. As it turns out, Will County is one of the largest female caucuses in the state of Illinois. We have 12, if you haven't counted lately. And so this was a great opportunity for all of us to go down to Springfield together and meet with as many legislators as we could, just to meet and greet and get to know them and let them get to know us. So on the trip was our Majority Whip, Lori Smith, Ann Drale, Suzanne Hart, Debbie Rozak, Diane Seiler, Jackie Trenier, and myself. Also attending was Executive Walsh and Majority Leader Bilotta, as well as Chief of Staff Nick Palmer. After we attended the Governmental League luncheon, we went over to the Capitol and observed some of the session in the House gallery. And as it would happen, Rep. Kozel just happened to be on the floor presenting House Bill 2974, one of our cell tower pieces of legislation, and it passed third reading. So she recognized us, knowing that we were in the gallery. She recognized everybody to the full House, and then she came upstairs and chatted with us for a while. We proceeded over to Senator Wilhelmie's office, and he was on his way to the Justice Committee, so we went there where he chaired the Justice Committee and again recognized each one of us to his committee. And from there we proceeded to Representative Cross's office, where many of the Will County mayors were discussing their legislative agenda with him, and we took that opportunity to thank him for his no vote on the House Bill 1293, the sheriff foreclosure bill. That evening we had several sponsorships that paid for a dinner reception for us. And prior to that, we attended the Governmental League reception at the Abraham Lincoln Museum. But at the Sangamon Club, we were able to have hors d'oeuvres and dinner with a couple of our senators and representatives, but then several stopped by as well just to say hi and chat for a little while just for hors d'oeuvres. So that, too, was a very successful trip. Again, we didn't have a legislative agenda to sit down and chat with our legislators. We were really just down there to build relationships with our elected officials. So, does anybody have any questions on those?
Any questions for Leanne? Sounds like a busy month.
It has been. It has
Any
been.
questions? If not, thank you, Leanne.
Thank you. I just wanted to also, again, reiterate and encourage everybody that knows their senator, has a relationship with their senator, has any other relationships with senators across the state of Illinois. The foreclosure bill did pass out of the House. It squeaked by with one vote. It received 60 votes. Had it only received 59, it would have failed. But it passed to the Senate, and now our battle is in the Senate to continue to fight this legislation and keep those foreclosure sales local. So I implore you to contact your senators. And finally, just one announcement. I wanted to remind everybody that the Illinois House redistricting hearing is tonight in the Joliet City Hall, and I would encourage everybody to attend and testify if you have an opinion on how the Senate and the House districts should be drawn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very informative. Next, we move on to the Capital Improvements Committee. Mr. Mayor, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive, and I'd like you to join me with the Irish Caucus next year down in Springfield. I think we have a few members here on the board here that we can get a group down there without any problem. Can you cross those lines?
I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The capital improvement continues to go through, and we will be working on a prioritization list. We've had some talks with our committee. We want to go in and put our executive group together to start looking at priorities for capital in this next month. And also, if you haven't noticed, if you're coming up and down the stairs, you might see it being a little bit brighter in the stairwell. We've replaced the LED lighting in there. Mike assured me that now that we can see that there's an area that needed to be painted because of previous lights that were up there, that he'll take care of that for us. But other than that, I think I'm done with that. I want to wish everybody a happy Holy Week for both Easter and for Passover. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chuck. Moving on to the Executive Committee, Mr. Mustis, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Jim.
County Board. My first item today is 11-149, replacement hires for Sunny Hill. I will so move.
Moved by Mr. Musta, seconded by Ms. May. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, seconded by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
Next, we have Resolution 11-150, a resolution concurring with District 8 recommendations for community groups to receive contributions pursuant to the Waste Management Laraway Road host agreement, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Musa, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Smith, seconded by Ms. Rozak. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Mr. Executive, before I go on to my next resolution, when we cited the Laraway, well, it's been cited for a long time, but when we did some additional citing work for Laraway, we've always asked Waste Management to go out to the community and participate. This is one of the programs that they helped fund, but there is another, and I believe Lee Edelman from Waste Management's here.
Yes, he is.
And maybe he'd like to just touch on it. But also, Laraway, we asked Waste Management, the board and the county executive, when they negotiated the contract, we did ask Waste Management to reach out to the communities that they perhaps could be impacting, and they did. And part of that is Laraway School also received $500,000 from Waste Management in the agreement, and which they received $50,000 a year for 10 years, and. If I might just ask Lee, you mentioned to me this morning that you're going to give them the first installment today?
Why don't you come on down, Mr. Adam?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Lee. Good morning.
County Board Chairman Bush, county board members, county staff, members of the public. Yes, I have a wonderful, thank you for the opportunity. A portion of Waste Management's mission statement contains a responsibility to enhance the communities that we serve. And we fulfill that responsibility in part by establishing outreach programs to various entities. As alluded to in this resolution, we supported 5 community groups initiated by then board member and minority leader Margie Woods, and we were delighted to participate in that. We also felt it necessary to make an oral commitment that actually was outside of the host agreement that we signed with the county to support Laraway School. And so to that end, I have the distinct pleasure today of presenting to Dr. Doug Hesbold, the superintendent of Laraway School, the first installment of $50,000 of 10 payments that will be made in the subsequent years that will bring him up to $500,000. And that is a joy for me and for our company to be able to do that. But I must add a postscript here. Without the actions of this board, none of this would have been possible. And because you chose Waste Management to operate your Prairie View Recycling and Disposal Facility and your approval of our Laraway application, that enabled us to provide these funds for all of these outreach programs. We want to assure you this is just the start. We've got a lot of other plans for the county and various programs, and we are extremely grateful for the trust and confidence that you've placed in us, and I really thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edelman.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, I have Resolution 11-151, a resolution declaring various electronics equipment surplus and authorizing recycling disposal, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Musta, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Goodson. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Next, we have Resolution 152, a resolution renewing contract for office supplies, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Trenier. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Howard, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
Next,
Mr. Konecki, you want to be a yes on this? Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution 111-153, a resolution awarding bid for maintenance agreement for chiller unit at Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Smith. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Yeah, before I go on to appointments, I just want to mention everyone, we will need an executive session today, which I will do at the appropriate time at the end of the agenda for the purpose of litigation. So just so you know, don't run out. Next, we have the appointments by the county executive, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by... Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Rozak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Mr. Executive, that concludes my business portion.
Thank you very much. Announcements by County Board Chairman, Mr. Mustis.
Larry, what's going on with our socks?
I refer to Mr. Glasgow.
Mr. Glasgow, by the way, if you notice, I have my Easter tie on, my pink pastel, but I also know the county executive has his blue Easter tie on. So we're into the holiday coming up. And look at there, Walt has the yellow on. I didn't notice. Okay, so we got the Easter pastel color thing covered.
He looks like one of them peeps out there.
Yeah. I think maybe next year we should ask all the women. I think we should ask the women caucus next year to wear their Easter hats. Okay. I really don't have much to say today. I wish everyone the holiest and of Passover and Easter. Enjoy your families, and that concludes my remarks today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustis. Mr. Bilotta is not in. Is he out there?
That's all right. We pass him over. You're not here, you lose, you lose.
Mr. Adamick, Minority Leader. Oh, excuse me.
I'd like to recognize once again Margie Woods, our former county board member and minority leader. Margie, thanks for showing. I told her if she came to one of our county board members, I owe her lunch. So, Margie, if you'd like to stick around, I'll buy you that lunch.
You're lucky, Margie.
I just want to remind our board members that once every 10 years we go through a redistricting and reapportionment, and that process is taking place for the last few weeks now, and we'll be coming up with some maps that will be drawn, and so those that aren't on the committee, feel free to come on in and to voice your concerns or comments. So it just make you aware of that. Also, for those that are out in Will County, residents that would like to voice those concerns, I welcome them as well. It was with heavy heart that I announced that Frank Stewart lost one of his family members. He couldn't be here today, so I'm sure our thoughts and prayers are with his family. I also want to recognize 4-H for being here. Larry, you touched on it earlier, but all the good works that they do, it's an incredible organization, and it's good for our young people in the county and all the good things that they do. April is also Earth Day, so we got to take care of our bird cage called Earth. If we keep polluting it, we won't have much left to pass on to our kids and future generations. So please get out there and do something good for our planet. And then lastly, I want to wish all those happy Easter and Passover. With hopefully that we enjoy that with our family and friends at this time of year. It's a very holy holiday. I wish all those happy Easter, happy Passover, and good day to everyone here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wally. Mr. Bilotta, would you like to make a comment as
Apologize,
majority
I
leader?
stepped out. Just real quick, I just think, I hope that everybody at the county understands that A+ award from Sunshine and what it means. It's the results of some great work by our department heads, by the executive, by this board, doing the right thing. The transparency in government is something that's easier to do now with the internet and the technology, and I think it's great that you're seeing the results when there's 17 out of 3,000 counties that get this award in A+. Hats off to everybody with the hard decisions they made to get us to that point, and we'll continue to do that for the people of Will County. So, and after that, happy Easter, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I wish to offer my sincere happy Easter and blessed Easter and Passover also to, as Jim said, all our families, time to spend time with our families. And let's hope the weather is maybe accommodating for us. So, county board members, we will be going into executive session. So, we're gonna move to go in when we come back, Jim. Okay, and so we need to have everybody. In 10 minutes, we'll be back ready to go to make a motion to go into executive session. So, everyone, thank you very much.